Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Learn English Podcast 360. Let me ask you something very simple. Have you ever said a sentence like this? I will go tomorrow? Many English learners say this sentence, and that is completely understandable. But sometimes native speakers say something a little different. Instead, they say, I'm going to go tomorrow. So, what is the difference? Relax. Today we are not studying grammar rules, and there is no complicated explanation. Today we are simply understanding real-life English, the kind of English people use every day in normal conversations. So once again, welcome to Learn English Podcast 360. In today's episode, we're going to talk about two small expressions that we use when talking about the future, the word will and the expression going to. They look very simple, but many learners feel confused when they want to use them. So in this episode, we will take our time and move slowly. And by the end of this conversation, you will feel more comfortable and more confident when you talk about the future in English. Maybe not perfect yet, but confident. And confidence is always more important than perfection. Now let's talk honestly for a moment. Many English learners feel nervous when they talk about the future. Maybe this has happened to you before. You want to say something simple, maybe your plan for tomorrow, or something you want to do next week. But suddenly your brain asks a question. Should I say will? Or should I say going to? And then something strange happens. Your mind stops, the sentence disappears, and you stay silent for a few seconds. If this has happened to you, don't worry. You are not alone. This confusion happens to learners all over the world. But here is the good news. In real-life conversations, the difference between will and going to is not really about complicated grammar rules. It is not about memorizing a long explanation from a textbook. It is actually about something much more human. It is about a moment in life. More specifically, it is about when the decision happens. That simple idea can help you understand everything. So today, let's explore these two expressions like real people, not like students sitting in a grammar class. We will think about everyday situations, the kind of moments that happen in normal life. And little by little, you will start to feel the difference. So, let's begin with the first word. Will. When people use the word will, they often decide something in the moment. This means the idea appears in your mind right now. You did not plan it before and you were not thinking about it yesterday. The idea simply appears suddenly. Let's imagine a very simple situation. You are sitting with a friend, maybe watching television together. Your friend suddenly says, I'm thirsty. You think for a second and then you say, I'll get some water. Notice something important here. You did not plan this before. Before your friend spoke, you were not thinking about getting water. But when you heard the problem, an idea appeared in your mind, and you decided in that moment to help. So you say, I'll get some water. That is a perfect moment to use will. Let's imagine another situation. You are at home, and your phone starts ringing. You look at the screen and see that it is your sister calling. You say to the people around you, wait a second, I'll answer it. Again, the decision happens in the moment. You did not plan it 5 minutes earlier. The situation happened suddenly and you reacted. That is why will sounds natural here. Now, let's look at another very common use of will. People often use it when they make a promise. Promises are very important in daily conversations. For example, a friend might ask, can you help me tomorrow? And you answer, don't worry, I'll help you. Or someone might say, please call me when you arrive. And you answer, of course, I'll call you. Or maybe your friend says, please don't forget. And you answer, I won't forget. When people use will in these situations, the sentence feels strong. It shows intention, commitment, and responsibility. You are telling the other person that you truly plan to do something. So when you hear the word will, you can often imagine three simple ideas: a quick decision, a promise, or an idea that appears right now. You do not need to think about complicated grammar names. Just think about the feeling of the moment. The idea appears now, you decide now, so you use will. Now, let's move to the second expression, going to. This one is a little different. When people use going to, they're usually talking about a plan that already exists. In other words, the decision happened before this moment. You already thought about it, and you already made the decision. Now you are simply telling someone about your plan. Let's imagine a simple conversation. Your friend asks you, "What are you doing this weekend?" You answer, "I'm going to visit my parents." Notice the feeling of this sentence. This plan is not new. You probably thought about it yesterday, and maybe you talked with your parents earlier in the week. So when you say, "I'm going to visit my parents," you're talking about something that is already planned. Let's look at another example. Someone sees you outside wearing running shoes and asks, "Why are you wearing running shoes?" You answer, "I'm going to run in the park." Again, this plan already exists. You did not decide to run at the exact moment of the question. You planned this activity earlier, so going to feels natural. Imagine one more situation. Your friend calls and asks, "What are you doing tonight?" You answer, "I'm going to study English tonight." This sentence shows preparation. You already thought about it. Maybe you already opened your notebook or prepared your lesson. The plan already exists in your mind, and that is why going to works well here. So now we can return to our simple idea. When we use will, the decision often happens in the moment. When we use going to, the decision happened earlier. Think of it as two different moments in time. One moment is now, and the other moment is before now. When the idea appears now, people often use will. When the idea existed before the conversation started, people often use going to. That is the basic feeling behind these two expressions. There is no complicated rule and no long grammar explanation. It is simply a difference in time, a decision now or a decision before. When you start listening to English conversations, you will notice this pattern again and again. People are simply showing when the idea first appeared. And when you understand that, talking about the future in English becomes much easier, much more natural, and much less stressful. Now, let's look at a very simple story. Stories are often the easiest way to understand how English works in real life. Imagine a man named Tom. It is Friday night, and Tom is at home. The house is quiet. He finished work earlier in the day, and now he is sitting on the couch. He feels a little bored. He looks around the room, but there is nothing interesting on television. Then he checks his phone, and there are no new messages. After a moment, he says to himself, "I'll watch a movie." This sentence uses the word will.
Why?
Because the decision happens right at that moment. Before this moment, Tom was not planning to watch a movie. He was simply sitting there, feeling bored. Then suddenly the idea appeared in his mind. "I'll watch a movie." That is a perfect example of a decision in the moment. Now, let's continue the story. About 20 minutes later, Tom's phone rings. It is his friend. His friend asks, "Hey Tom, what are you doing tonight?" Tom answers, "I'm going to watch a movie." Now the sentence sounds a little different. Instead of saying, "I will watch a movie," Tom says, "I'm going to watch a movie." That is because the decision already exists. Tom decided earlier, so now it is a plan. The activity is the same, but the feeling is different. Earlier, the idea appeared suddenly. Later, the idea became a plan. The action did not change, but the moment of the decision changed. And that is why the expression changes. This is how English naturally shows time and intention. Before we finish today's episode, remember something very important. English is not about perfect grammar. Many learners worry too much about choosing the perfect word. But language is really about communication. The goal is to share ideas and understand each other. If you say, "I will study tonight," or "I'm going to study tonight," people will understand you. Your message is clear. So the most important thing is confidence. Speak as often as you can, and do not be afraid of small mistakes. Every conversation is practice, and every sentence helps you grow. Listen to English, speak English, and little by little the language will start to feel natural. One day you will notice something interesting. You will choose between will and going to without even thinking about it. Your brain will simply feel which one sounds right. And that is when English truly becomes part of your life. If this episode helped you understand will and going to more clearly, please support the channel by liking this video and subscribing to Learn English Podcast 360. This channel is here to help you learn English in a simple, calm, and real-life way. No stress, no complicated explanations, just clear English that you can use every day. Keep listening, keep speaking, and enjoy your English journey. Thank you for spending time with me today, and I will see you in the next episode.